Hey fam, what's up? So we are getting back in our vlogging game and gonna be bringing a bunch of new cool content. We've actually been doing some stuff in the background during the whole crisis, and so I know this pandemic has been really difficult and challenging for a lot of people. It's caused a lot of tragedy for some people. At the same time, for us, the forced kind of stop has really given us the space to reevaluate some things. Definitely helped us get our focus back on being artists first. Some of the other work that we do getting reprioritized. So for right now, this coming week, Mr. Ted Yoder is going to be coming back into the recording studio and making his third record with me, which is, I'm so honored that he's trusted me to make that work. This week, we've got to kind of move all the stuff that we've moved to our house so that we wouldn't need to be going to the studio and be able to shelter in place and still do some work. That stuff has all moved back. The thing was, with the studio last year, we had a small flood early on in the year, and it kind of messed us up. We had to redo flooring and a whole bunch of other things, and we got so slammed with the studio that we were never able to take the time to get all of the carpet re-put back in, and there's some loose trim that's just sitting in the corner. So those are all things that we're going to try and do this week and get everything back in shape for the studio. And I've got one really cool thing I want to take you into my garage and show you. That's going to be kind of a new piece in the studio. It's going to be really cool. So let's check it out. All right. So you can see here, this is an old theater seat, and I've actually got 4 of them. And what the deal with those are, you can see I'm kind of working on some kind of a mounting system on them. They were originally mounted to the hardwood floors in the Goshen Theater. I was able to get a hold of 4 of the seats from the Goshen Theater. So been out here trying to kind of figure out what's the best method for kind of mounting these and having some kind of a flexible arrangement. So I think I've come up with this kind of 2x4 system. Once I get this done, we're going to paint them up and get them put together. And hopefully, yet today, we'll be able to put them in the studio and get those installed and have that as kind of like a nice new seating arrangement in the kind of the auxiliary room in the studio. All right, fam. So I am here in the studio in what's called the auxiliary room, and as you can see here, got some missing carpet along in here and in our vocal booth. One of our main jobs today is going to be to jump in here and try and get the floor finished up in here and there's trim all along the walls. You can kind of see it looks a little nasty right there, along there, and all along here. So we want to get that kind of all put back together and get the studio all nice and ready to rock for people. And this is also the room that the theater seating is going to go in, so I'm pretty excited about that. In the meantime, got some helpers.
You have helpers?
I got a little helper. and Amber's in here, and we're making our evil plan to take over the world, so wish us luck. Hey Shiloh, what you doing?
Drawing this.
What'd you draw up here?
Shiny, shiny black.
Yes! All right, so we're in a really exciting place now in the room. Gone ahead and got all the carpet in all the way back to there. That's all cut in and laying down. Haven't quite made it into the vocal booth yet, but this is really good progress. And as you can see from our earlier stuff, all the trim is now in. And now we're ready to put in our theater seating. It's going to go right here. So we're going to have to drag the pieces for that in here and kind of build it in place. And should be really cool. So stoked. All right, fam. So we're back in action here. This is the vocal booth here at the studio, and getting ready to finish up this carpet. We just got a little bit to lay down. Basically, need to take this tile right here and continue it on to the edge, and then lay the stuff on either side of it. So I'm pretty excited to get the space back, kind of where it needs to be, and get it ready for clients. It's going to be really cool, and hopefully we'll be able to start making some music here soon. All right, fam, exciting stuff. We've got the room swept, got all the carpet laid, got the stuff back here in the corner, got mics in place, got just kind of everything ready to roll, and maybe start moving some stuff in tomorrow. So we'll see. All right, talk to you soon. All right, fam, so it's now, I think Friday. I don't know, this whole COVID thing's got my days screwed up. Anyways, got another round of trying to get the studio ready for the session next week, and I'm in the sacred hallowed ground of my back porch, which is full of all of this stuff, and that's all got to go in my studio, which you'll see in just a minute. It's not really ready for it, so we got a lot of work to do to get this thing ready to rock and roll. I'm confident we can do it, but yeah, anyway, so I'm heading back to the studio and getting hopefully a good day's work in here, getting everything ready and rounded up. So here we go. All right, so as I was loading up into the vehicle, I realized I almost forgot. I need to cut this board down. It goes over the door in one of the door to the vocal booth, and I need to put that on. So before proceeding to do the first load at the studio, I need to secure that so that I don't need any more of my construction tools at the studio, so that I can move on, pack that stuff up and get it out of there. So let's do that real quick and then head over to the studio. All right, so back here in the studio in kind of the auxiliary room, and first thing I want to point out is that up here we've got this piece of trim that's kind of missing. That's kind of the first thing I need to do today, so I'm just going to go ahead and slap that up there and call that good. And then the next thing is these weird like kind of stormtrooper looking things are actually like sound diffusers. They kind of spread the sound out, which also helps with that kind of that little bit of an echo. And you've probably noticed this before, that there's all these cool records on the ceiling in the rest of the studio. And the reason for those is there's actually a gap. If you look at them up here, there's actually a gap between the records, and what that does is that allows the sound to go up and bounce around a little bit and get spread out, and it doesn't create that kind of weird echoey sound that a space this small and short would normally have. So in here, I don't have like 18 million more records to hang, and frankly, I don't have the time to deal with it right now. So instead, I'm going to put these on the ceiling and hopefully get rid of that last little bit of kind of weird resonance. So I'm going to spread those out in here in a couple of spaces on the ceiling. So that's kind of like my first two things to do today, and then we'll get into some of the other work that needs to be done. All right, so now I've got these T-fusers up on the ceiling, and this piece of trim up over here over this door. So all in all, exciting stuff. So these two rooms are ready to roll, and that's great news. The bad news is this. Holy cow! This is not even close to ready, and we got to get this done. And I left kind of in a hurry. To be perfectly honest, I wasn't sure how much time I had when I knew that the COVID lockdown was happening. So I just pulled up everything I needed to make stuff happen at home and got it out there without worrying too much about this. This was not this bad though. So the other thing that happened was back in the day when I took over this studio, the previous owner had left a lot of just odds and ends equipment that ended up not working out, or they didn't need anymore. And a lot of it, frankly, is junk. And it just never got cleaned out of here. So this is our like kind of work closet, and that had just been full of random junk. And so we got to get all of that out of here. And get this place cleaned up really nice so that it's ready to be used. Gotten quite a bit of the stuff out of here. We just got a little bit of cleanup that needs to happen in here. We've got some stuff to set up. Like in here is my studio monitors down in there, and then that rack back there has all of my recording equipment. And we got to kind of get everything cleaned up and then put all that stuff in place, and then put the speakers up on there and there. Anyways, got to get that done yet tonight. And then once that's done and everything's up and running, we can go home. And then tomorrow I'll hit the ground running. First thing in the afternoon, I'll be doing the Napanee Missionary radio program out of here. And once that's put together, then I've got to get the studio prepped for my friend Ted Yoder. And if you're interested in any of his stuff, definitely check out tedyoder.com, especially the last record I worked with him on. It's called Lean In. It's really cool. I really think that's a cool sounding record. Anyways, I got to get to work. Stop yapping. So we'll set up the time lapse and let her rock, and you'll kind of get a little bit of a window into what it takes to put this whole thing together. So, all right, here we go. So check it out. Today, got in here, as you saw in the time lapse, swept everything up. I'm feeling really good about the condition of the studio now. Got all the mega dust bunnies out of here. I think kind of went through everything and just got organized and set up and ready for another season of running hard and making a lot of stuff. As you can see, the computer is up and running. Got the control surface in place and the rack of equipment for recording. All the monitors are on. It showed up for the dress rehearsal and performed excellently. So the only thing I didn't get to do today was calibrate the system. So anytime you kind of change the system around or move things, it's best to kind of get a baseline of calibration on the monitoring. That's kind of like the last thing I've got to do. I'll do that tomorrow before I kick off with the radio program. So we'll be ready for Ted Yoder and his crew to show up and make another cool record. I'm real excited to kind of bring the behind the scenes action for that for you guys. Until next time, keep on going. We'll see you around.